click click clap or whatever. Welcome back to my channel. Somebody asked from the last video to do a full routine, so here it is. Shower, we used the Care for Sons shampoo like I used in the last video, so this promotes hair growth and healthy and strong hair and all that good stuff that you need, especially if you're like me and you've had a hair transplant. This is the minoxidil spray, also from Care for Sons. Work that into the scalp, massage it right in, so the hairline, the crown. Then we get a vent brush after we've worked that all the way in, and we're using the vent brush to part our hair. So we find our parting and we do what it says in the tin. We part our hair in one direction and the other. Then we grab our hairdryer and then we swap the brush for a round brush. So by back combing the round brush, that's what gives the actual volume. The hairdryer with a really thin nozzle will really direct the hair. The hairdryer is also on a medium heat, so we're being careful of the products that we're using in our hair, but also being conscious of the temperature in which we're applying to our hair. So we work the hair in sections. I pretty much focus on the parting for the most part and get the volume where I want there. And then from there, I work from the back to the front, and then as we make our way to the front, we pull the fringe down and then we blow dry that up in a straight direction, because the weight of the hair will allow it to fall back down, and that's where we really want the volume in the front, and then it will reduce as it goes backwards. So as we can see here, we're really using the round brush right from the root and then working our way right up to the top of the hair, all the way around, give us that volume that we want. And then once we have our hair in the desired position and it's doing what we want it to do, then we will actually comb all the way through and let that volume sit down into its actual position. Then we will swap back to the vent brush. So as you can see, the holes in the vent brush will allow the air to flow through the brush. The bristles are also wider, so they're less densely packed together. So it will allow the hair to kind of like separate a little bit more as you are blow drying it into shape. Then we will grab our pomade. This is from Russell, I think that's how you say that brand's name. So we grab about a fingertip's worth, heat it up in your palms. This like distributes the product throughout your palms, so it's easier to apply to the hair, but it also heats up the product, so it's easier to apply to the hair. So we get the side parting where we want, and then once that, then we will just work it from the front all the way back, focusing on the root right through to the tips of the hair. As you can see how easy this product goes into the hair. So that's one, because we've spread it out through our hands, but then also we've heated it up. This is probably a medium hold product, so you can see there it's very easy to run the fingers through the hair. And then we will get our vent brush again, and this will remove any sort of residue that may be like clumped together, and it'll also give a much more of a cleaner look. So if you want a more natural kind of raw look to it, you can just run your fingers through it, or if you want something that's a little bit more kind of slicker and tidier, the vent brush will do. So now we'll move on to our skincare. So this is our moisturizer. This is a 100 hours hydration cream from number 7. So apply it to the face, run our fingers through, circular motions, making sure we're getting it all in there, all over the face, and make sure that we come down onto the neck, under the chin. Then we use a skin balancing serum, also from number 7. So what this does is, if you have oily skin, it'll restore it to its like kind of natural state, or if you have dry skin, it'll restore it to a natural balanced state. It makes your skin feel really soft, neutral. So like I would obviously have a bit of dry skin, particularly under my eyes, because I have psoriasis, but I would have an oily T-zone, so my forehead is quite oily. So a skin balancing serum like this does a really good job at kind of neutralizing the overall kind of, not so much the complexion, but the I don't know what the word is, the oiliness or whatever of my face. So it's not super dry, it's not super oily. This is a great product. Then, as I mentioned, I have psoriasis, so I use a psoriasis cream. This is a steroid-free cream. I do not use topical treatments for my psoriasis, and I apply this very sparingly. It's just those little red patches that are under my eye, and then there is 2 little patches within my eyebrows. So without applying more, I'll just spread what I've actually applied up into the actual eyebrows as well. And then that's pretty much it for the psoriasis treatment cream. It's very, very small little bit, and it's only focused on those particular areas. And then speaking of treatment creams, this is the Dr. Yart Soothing Treatment Cream. So this has tiger leaf in it or something like that, which is amazing for repairing skin. So applying it to that same kind of area of sensitiveness and redness from the psoriasis, and not really applying it all over because it doesn't need it. So just a little bit on either side under the eye, focusing on those kind of problem areas that I have. And then last but not least, we have our skin color corrector. So you just basically just dab this around. So what this does is this basically neutralizes the redness in the skin. So both the psoriasis, but you can see like there, I just have like a natural kind of red undertone because I am a pasty white Irish bloke. So you can use a blending brush for this if you want, or you can just use your fingers. So you basically just don't rub it in, you kind of dab it in. And what this does is essentially neutralizes the redness and gives a much more even complexion. So like women would use like a foundation, but this would be something that girls would use like under a foundation to color correct the skin first and then apply the foundation. They would obviously use like a primer and everything else, but you can just use that color corrector on its own. You can see now that the overall balance and color of the skin is a little bit more neutral and normal. So then I went all the way to Vicar Street because my friends Darren and Joe were playing a show. So they have a podcast called Stall It, and they had a live show on Vicar Street, and it was absolutely insane. The lads absolutely smashed it. They had cardboard cutouts of Barry Keoghan. As you can see, Darren loves a Sue. And then it was 4 a.m. and bedtime, so good night. And it's the next day, so here's me going in. You need to fuel up because we're getting tattooed again. So as you can see in the other video, I got my neck tattooed, but now we're getting the rest of the neck done. We're doing under the chin and the jaw lines. This is my friend Gabby sorting out the stencil. So the first one we're free-handed on because it's a little bit more of an awkward kind of spot. It's not super symmetrical when this one needs to be super symmetrical because it's in the middle under the chin. So getting the stencil ready, so applying the cream for the stencil to work, and then the stencil is split in two halves, so to make sure that it's super symmetrical. I don't have a super symmetrical face, so this is why it's important to make sure that the tattoo is somewhat centered. So now we have the stencil in place, and then we get to the not so fun part. This was absolutely excruciating, I'm not gonna lie. This is easily an 8 out of 10. So we're coming close to the halfway mark now. So the outside parts on the jaw were the easiest part, but as we got in here underneath the chin, it was gruesome. Probably the third most painful tattoo that I have, other than like my kneecap or my lower stomach, but this was in parts very, very close. Like that little dot under the chin was absolutely disgusting. But now we've got the middle part all but done. We just got 3 little petals in there, and then that little bottom petal needs to be finished because I needed to take a break because I was going to die. And now we have the finished product, and after many a year my neck is finally full. And here's me just taking the piss.
Get serious. You've really got to get serious.
And now I'm in a taxi home, chilled out, relaxed, time for bed. Thanks for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one.